But why did I want to leave America and come to the Philippines? I had 2 years to really think hard about this. One, the financial situation was getting more difficult in the U.S. Even though I found a great job being a tool and die maker, I was able to find work a lot of overtime, make money. But making money wasn't that important anymore. So I decided 1 year I was going to spend 1 year to see if I could find a fulfilling relationship in the U.S. before I made that big move here to the Philippines. Failed, man. Could not find a good relationship for me. It might have been a good relationship for them, but for me, it was not working out. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and move. And I had to get away from this rat race. And my bank accounts weren't growing. Because the cost of living was so high, I was spinning my wheels financially. Money in, money out, I still had the same balance in my bank account at the end of every month. So coming to the Philippines had a lot to do with changing my lifestyle. It had very little to do with relationships. Even though I joke around with, I came for the women. Of course, you come for the relationships here. But the cost of living is also a big thing. But the number one reason I came here was so I could experience a new quality of life, a different style of life, a slower paced life. And I didn't know what to expect. I had all these fantasies going through my head of when I got to the Philippines, I was going to live on a beach. And every day I was going to walk down the beach and there's going to be this lounge chair that I could go sit in and bask in the sun. And I would get these drinks, in the coconut with the straw and the umbrella. I had this all figured out. What a great life I was going to have. I was like Snoop Dogg sitting on the beach, just enjoying everything of relaxation. Well, that's tourist mode. In reality, you cannot find that here in the Philippines. You can for a week. You can for a couple weeks. You go stay at a high-end resort. But the reality is, what you're going to find is empty beaches. They're hot during the day, but more busy in the evening. But I was able to find peace and quiet here in the Philippines. And why did I choose the Philippines after 4 years? 4 years of up and down relationships, 4 years of up and down problems health-wise, that I decided I'm going to stay here. A lot of it had to do with the quality of life that I found here, the peace. I left the U.S. to become more at one with myself, if that's the way to look at it. I just wanted to have a peaceful life. I didn't want a lot of trouble. I didn't want any problems. I didn't want that hamster wheel. I didn't want the endless bills where I was always stressed to go make more money and pay these bills. Buy a new truck. My God, trucks were getting outrageous. When I lived in Las Vegas, 2019, I paid $1,500 a month for a one-bedroom, unfurnished apartment. Here in the Philippines, $600, I have a two-bedroom house, fully furnished, with a private yard. It's a much simpler life here. You get more bang for your buck, and the stress to pay these bills is gone. The financial freedom is the biggest reason I was hoping to come here and find, and I found that. And that's something a lot of guys should strive for. When you come here, is the financial freedom you achieve. Whatever you have, budget-wise, $10,000 a month, $800 a month, whatever it is, you can do better here in the Philippines. A little caveat to that, no social services here. I want to put that out there. There is no government agency that's going to help you. You're on your own. But if you're a responsible man, and you should be, after 40, 50, 60 years of working, you should be a very responsible person to be able to take care of yourself and live within your means. But those means are much better than the means that you had back home. So the main reason for moving to the Philippines, a clean slate. I wanted to come here and just wipe out everything in the past and not have to deal with all that. Just all the issues in the, you drive down the highway And you're afraid sometimes you'll get a ticket because the tail light's out. You just want the peace of mind, the peace of travel, the peace of relaxation that you get here in the Philippines. I just want to start anew. Want to find a new home, want to find a new town to live in, make new friends, and enjoy the quiet life of the Philippines. The big trade-off coming here is I traded that fast-paced, hectic lifestyle in the US where relaxation was non-existent except on your own couch or your own lounge chair at home, having a beer or drinking your coffee and watching a TV show. Maybe you went fishing once in a while. But most of the time, it was work, 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 or thinking about work. Thinking about how you're going to pay those bills. Looking at your budget back home. Knowing the rent's coming up, the mortgage payments coming up, the medical bills that you can accumulate quickly, even with insurance in the US. I traded that for coming here and having a simpler life, for maybe 4 or 5 bills. Pay your rent, your utilities, your visa, eat, drink, and be merry. What other bills do you have? You have no other bills that you're responsible for on a monthly basis. It's a simple life. And the relationship truth. Let's be truthful about relationships. They're harder to have when you're older in the US. And I started having these difficulties when I hit 50, dating women. You're older, you're starting to look at older women. And here in the Philippines, the women of all ages are available. It's just you as a man deciding on who you want to date or who you want to be with, and them as a female, Filipina, deciding if you're worth their time or effort. You have to sell yourself to them, and they have to sell themselves to you. But I found in the US, the relationships, women were more looking for roommates than they were partners in life. They wanted somebody to help pay the bills. They want someone to pay the bills, to tell you the honest truth. They either wanted to move in with you and you pay all the bills, or you move in with them and you pay over half the bills. You got to pay rent and you got to pay lights and everything. It wasn't a relationship. It was more of a convenience for them with some sex on the side. And the treatment here in the social aspect of life in the Philippines is so much different. As a senior, I get much more respect. I get a lot of respect. I go in to the restaurant, the coffee shop. People are nice. They're very respectful. In the US, you go into some place and order something. Maybe they'll look at you either, they'll just say, what do you want? What's your order? It's like you're an inconvenience to these people because they're just working for a small salary. Where here in the Philippines, it's just the culture of the people who are nice. And much more respect to seniors here. As an older person, I remember walking around Las Vegas Boulevard, Sunset Park, and kids running by, get out of my way, old man, because I'm on the bike path maybe. Maybe I am in their way, but they're rude about it. Where here, they're much more respectful. They step aside. They open the door for you. It's just much more respect here in the Philippines. And why do I stay? The honeymoon phase is over. After a couple of years, the honeymoon phase is over. I'm going on year 5 here in a couple months. And the honeymoon is definitely over here in the Philippines. I'm into a daily life routine. I have found a place that I call home. I love Dumaguete. It's my home. I'm not leaving it. Even with the ups and downs in relationships and friendships, Dumaguete is where I live. The vast majority of my friends live here. I have a peaceful life here. It's a life I can afford. It's a life I enjoy, and I do what I like to do here. I can enjoy the nature of the Philippines. That's something I really do enjoy, is nature. And that's something in Las Vegas, I didn't get a good sense of nature there. Yes, I would drive out into the desert, up to Caliente, and maybe go to Echo Canyon to go fishing for, stock trout or something. Here in the Philippines, I came to this spot. I left my house 15 minutes before I set up. And that was stopping for a cup of coffee to go. So The nature of the beauty of the Philippines, something I really love, and I love Negros. Negros has everything I need here. It has the beauty, it has the water, it has waterfalls, it has mountains, it has beaches, it has pretty good roads, and it seems safer here. Not a lot of typhoons seem to hit Dumaguete. They're more to the north, hitting Luzon and upper part of Cebu. Earthquakes, we really don't get earthquakes here in Dumaguete. A little shake, maybe a 3.3 every once in a while. We do have the infrastructure challenges, but that goes hand in hand with the cost of living. We're not paying big taxes here. We're not paying for great infrastructure. We're not paying extra money for this like you do in the US. Property tax and gasoline tax and all this. We don't pay that here. And if we do, I don't notice it because the amount of tax is so low. So the Philippines has a lot to offer for me. I feel this is my home. America is a great country. I love America. I love being an American. I became a citizen. I was born in the UK, and I came to America as a child, and I became a US citizen, and I served in the military. I paid my taxes. I did everything I was supposed to do as growing up as a man in the US. Now it's my turn. It's my golden years. It's the twilight of my life. I'm 72 years old. Every day is a gift. I never know when it's going to end. And I'm enjoying every day, one day at a time. And the reason I chose the Philippines, so many different reasons. But the one thing I will say, I'm so happy I did. And I'm so proud of myself to stick it out through the hard times and the good times and hang in there in Dumaguete, because the rewards far exceed any negatives that there are here in Dumaguete. People are friendly, the locals are friendly. I have neighbors now. These are not just foreigners running into Filipinos while they're walking around on vacation. These are my neighbors. They know my name, I know their name, I know where they live, they know where I live. If they need to borrow something, they come over. If I need a hand, I know where to go to get a couple people to help me carry something if it's heavy. Because I have neighbors, I have friends. And that's what you do here. You develop a community. And it's not just a community of expats. It's a community of people who live in the neighborhood you choose to live in. And that's something you don't get back home. Back home, do people really know their neighbors anymore? It isn't like when I grew up and you knew Ray next door, you knew Paul next door, you knew all your neighbors, and you knew all the neighbors' kids, and they knew you. But nowadays, when I lived in Las Vegas, I didn't know the people who lived in the apartment next to me. I didn't know the people who lived downstairs. I barely knew the names of the office staff because the turnover was so often. Here, I go into a restaurant. They know me when I walk in. Hey, Mike. It's like Norm in Cheers. Everyone knows your name once it becomes your community. That's what I love about the Philippines. I'm glad I chose the Philippines. I'm glad I'm staying here. And I have no intentions of going back. Many people ask, Mike, if money was not an issue, would you live somewhere else? And my answer is no. Dumaguete is my home. I love it here. Until next time. Thanks for watching.